Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. Hope you're all doing well. It's been a while since my last video. Just a bit. But I have some pretty good news. The first chapter of my manga, Warriors, is finally done. It only took me almost a damn year to finish it, but you know, we got there. Before I tell you where you can read it, I want to talk about, why it took so long and all the setbacks and all that stuff. Also, I apologize for this taking so long to publish. I've been talking about making this manga since like late January this year. And it's just coming out in October now. So, yeah. So I'm sorry to the people who have been waiting so long for me to release this, after I said I would release it time and time again, and then didn't make up on that promise. I would say like, oh, I'll have it done by like May, and then it went to June. I'd say, oh, I'll have it done by August, and I just kept pushing it back. You know, the expected release date, just getting farther and farther. And yeah, I'm sorry about that. But no more. Because it's finally here, and it's finally up. You can read it on the following sites for free. I'm gonna probably put them up on the screen right now, but they're all in the description. They're all linked down there. But wait, before you leave the video, I want to talk about some things regarding the manga. Hey, Editor Ethan here. I just wanted to stop in and say, before you read the manga, please don't go into reading it thinking it's like Berserk level artwork, because it's not. And the only reason I say that is because if you've been on the channel for a bit, I'll show it in like a few seconds after this. I've done like a shit ton of Berserk stuff, so please don't go into reading my manga thinking it's gonna be that high quality. It is not. This is really just a test to see how far I could go like on my own without a reference point or anything, so everything is completely original. So yeah, just want to say that. Right, back to the video. The biggest thing being I had no clue what I was doing the entire time I was making this manga. Let me explain. I've never made a manga before, other than like a shitty one-shot I did back in September of last year. And that was under a deadline because it was for a competition I entered. My manga had no deadline, obviously. You've been around? Well, you would know that. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I've never really made my own drawings before the manga. You know, if you've been on my channel for a bit, or if you just look at my video section, you'll see that I do a lot of, Berserk artwork, mainly Berserk artwork. I don't really do my own stuff until like recently, like I said. Redrawing panels and doing some other character designs here and there. But I've never really drawn my own stuff, even off stream. I was still drawing Berserk stuff and things from other games or animes I liked. I don't know. I just never really got into it until I started the manga. I only recently started to draw my own characters and create my own designs from imagination, like in February, I guess. I guess kind of for like my art class at school. I guess that also helped start me on that path, I guess, yeah. So what I'm trying to say is finding my style without looking at a reference image took me a while to figure out. Obviously my style would be heavily influenced by Berserk, which it is, because I've drawn so much of it for so long, which I think will be obvious with one of the two main characters I introduced in Chapter 1, Gurren. Now before anyone goes and says, oh, it's just Guts in your style, you're half right. Is he Guts? No. Is he a Guts-like character? Yeah. I wanted a character who was a strong swordsman with a big-ass sword, of course, who protects the people he cares about. Oh, didn't you just describe Guts? Kind of, yeah. But I have no intention of doing Gurren the same way Miura did Guts. I don't want that. It might happen in some parts, there might be some similarities or parallels between the characters, but I don't want to do that, like, intentionally. So I'm going to try my best to not do that, because that's not what I want. I've said on stream multiple times that I want my manga to be like a combination of Berserk and Vagabond art-wise, because I really love their art styles. So that's what I'm trying to go for. Yes, there is a lot of mistakes regarding the art in Chapter 1. Mistakes I plan on not repeating in Chapter 2. A lot of the faces are weird in some panels. Some of the parts are just not detailed because I read to shade them. Like I said, I have no clue what I'm doing. Chapter 1 is basically a test run to see where I'm at and what I can do by myself without references. I can do creating my own stuff. Oh, that's the other thing I want to talk about. This is a complete solo project. Everything was made by me. Every page, character, screen tone, it was all drawn by me. The story is also written by me. Now, Chapter 1 is not an insane story. It's nothing crazy. Really just like introducing the characters and the world they're in. That's basically it. Chapter 2 will be also a little slow, but Chapter 3 is when I think it'll start picking up. For reference, I have like 18 chapters written so far, so I got quite a bit of work to do. Also, Chapter 1 is short. It's only like 30 pages for the whole thing, and I think 29 pages where it's like actual like drawings and all that. I know that's not a lot of pages, like at all, for something that took so damn long, especially like almost a year to make. but I'm going to get into why it took so long to make something so short. I'm going to put up a timeline on screen right now of everything that's happened between me starting the writing back in November last year to today, October 2025. So first off, I was still in school. It was my last year of high school. I graduated back in June. I started writing Warriors in school whenever I had free time, which was honestly pretty often. I'd just be writing that shit during class and, whatever. Then I'd go home, I'd draw the character designs and just practice like my own style. That took a long time, honestly. It took a few months to figure out. I'm still figuring it out too. Originally, this was supposed to be a one-shot, but I know I can't write one-shots because I always end up wanting to add more to the story because that's just how my mind works. I start writing something and then I think of, oh, this could be cool, this, that, and I just keep going. So I can't write one-shots. I just can't do it, man. So I decided I'll just make a series and see where it goes, I continued writing until around like late January, early February. I had like 14 chapters right now, which is a pretty good start, I'd say. And I storyboarded chapter 1 in CSP, which took me like 2 weeks because I had to learn about the Z pattern and page layouts and all that. Then I decided to just like draw on the pages mid-February, just doing basic sketches and laying everything out. The biggest issue / setback, I believe, was the paper size I was using. I don't know what possessed me to make an entire chapter on this paper size, especially when I had never made a manga before, but it was a horrible idea. The paper size I used for the entire chapter was 18 by 24 inch paper. For reference, I think the basic manga page is 8 by 11 inch paper, or something like that. I think that's what the professional artists draw on. I was using like triple that size, so the paper was so big, I kid you not, it was bigger than the desk I was working on. And I'll put an image up on screen right now. It is like slightly bigger than the entire desk, which is just crazy to me. But yeah, I drew the entire chapter on that. Would not do again. So yeah, anyway, back to the timeline. Late February, my right wrist starts to hurt. I don't know what it was, it just randomly started to hurt. Very strange, like the inside of my wrist. If I moved it a certain way, it would just be like a cracking sound that would really hurt after. But I ignored it like an idiot and continued to draw with it, thinking it'd go away. It didn't. March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. I finally had enough, went to CVS to get like a thumb splint, since that's what the doctors recommended I get from like urgent care. Yeah, that didn't do shit. I think it actually made it worse, to be honest. Now I had the splint on. Sorry, when I had the splint on, I couldn't hold a pencil, so I couldn't draw. So from March 17th to early May, I had this thing on, and I got like zero work done on the manga except for like writing, because I could still type if that makes any sense at all. So early to mid-May rolls around, and I go to a hand specialist, and basically they give me a shot on my wrist. And it fixed it actually pretty much instantly. Like, by the time I walked out of the building, it didn't hurt anymore. Because I guess it numbed it or something like that. But yeah, it fixed it fucking immediately, which is incredible. So I didn't go back to 100% drawing force. I kind of like slowly got back into it throughout the rest of May. June rolls around and now I'm basically going back full force drawing with my right hand. And it's fine. Finished sketching all the pages and now I'm starting to ink them. At the same time, my school was doing all their like senior events and all that for graduation. So I was busy with those as well, which took away time from the manga. And then next I graduated in June. Started working on the manga almost every day for like a full 2 months. To be honest, I got lazy pretty often with it. I missed days at a time, not working on the manga at all. I was hanging out with friends over the summer because, they're all going to college. I'm not. So I know I wouldn't be able to see them as often until like Thanksgiving, winter break, or whatever that is that all the college kids come back from. So yeah, August hits, and I'm back on the manga grind. Every day I'm shading and trying to finish the pages, and I finished shading all the pages in early September. I'm excited because, I finally finished shading them months later, just a few months later from February. And then the next problem showed up. How was I going to get them into Clip Studio Paint? Clip Studio Paint, or CSP, is the software I use for all my digital stuff, making thumbnails, animations, storyboards, etc. So I specifically bought Clip Studio Paint for the screen tones, since physical screen tones are expensive as hell to ship over here. They're like $12 for pretty much nothing. So that was out of the question. So now I was thinking of ways to get my drawings into CSP because, I have to add the screen tones digitally, and I drew it on paper. so I had to somehow find a way to upload it. If you ever try to get a paper drawing into digital software to edit or fix things, you would know that you would need a scanner, which I didn't have, and I didn't want to buy because they're so goddamn expensive. And the other problem with the scanner was that I couldn't find a big enough scanner for the paper size I was using. The 18 by 24-inch scanners are like $3,000, which I do not have. So, before I bought a scanner, I tried to use my parents' phone because they have a better camera than I do. And at first I thought the pictures were good, until I uploaded them to Clip Studio, and the lighting was bad on them. It had like this weird, I don't even know what they call it, like it looked fine if you looked straight at it directly, but if you tilted your head a little bit and looked at it, there was some sort of like lighting issue or something. I don't know, it was weird. So yeah, I ended up just not using those because I had PTSD of when I made the one-shot from September last year, and it was such a low quality because my camera, I used my phone camera for that. Hey, Future Ethan here. I just wanted to jump in and say, that one-shot was absolute dog shit. Yeah, the quality of that was so bad. I don't know how I even made something so bad. Like I said, that was the first manga one-shot ever done, so I guess that's reasonable to make a bad one, but still, holy shit, it was awful. Warriors is so insanely more detailed than whatever that dog shit is that I put out last September. Yeah, I just wanted to jump in and say that. Alright, back to the video. And it was awful. So I really didn't want to make this like an awful scan, because obviously this is the good manga. I wanted it to be high quality. So I tried that method for like a week and a half before giving up and looking for a cheap scanner with like good reviews. I found one for like $80 or so, maybe 60, I forget, with pretty good reviews, so I bought it. It was supposed to come like the day after I bought it, but just like my manga, it kept getting delayed. It took 5 days to show up, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is when you can't do anything until that scanner arrives. It sucked. I just had to wait for days. And I kept getting emails saying like, oh yeah, it's been pushed back. It'll show up the next day or the day after, and it was so annoying. So it finally shows up, and I scan all my drawings, and then I realized that I'd have to scan each page multiple times since the scanner is much smaller than the papers I drew on. So I tried to scan one page for like 2 hours, trying to get the scan to line up in Clip Studio Paint. It just wouldn't. It took me so long. I was doing that for, like I said, 2 hours straight. Nothing would line up. I tried scanning the paper like 3 different ways, and it just did not work. So I gave up, and I tried the next day, and I figured out pretty fast. I ended up having to scan each page 8 times and then sketching them together in CSP to create the full image. That took me around like a week to do for all of them. It took so long to import all of them into a Clip Studio, attempt to perfectly match up each scan. Some of the scans are not perfectly matched up, I know. I tried to fix them digitally and all that, but some parts are kind of obvious. I tried my best, I don't know. Alright, so I finally got all the pages scanned and put together in CSP. So now it's time for the screen tones and the dialogue. I'm super excited to screen tone, so I would have CSP and import all the drawings into the comic setting and create a new file with that, because you can't use screen tones on like a regular drawing file for some reason. It was just really stupid. So I had to make a whole like comic book file, which was fine. And then I realized I've never screen toned anything in my life, so I have no clue what I was supposed to be doing. I then proceeded to watch multiple videos on how to screen tone. Eventually I figured it out, and I started screen toning the pages. Finished all the pages, then I figured out a way cooler way to screen tone the skies with like a gradient screen tone. So I went back and changed every sky, then I added dialogue, and thought I was done, until I forgot to add the sound effects. So I now had the issue of, do I want to add sound effects in English or Japanese? The choice should be pretty obvious, since I only speak English, which is exactly why I went with sound effects in Japanese. I know, right? Genius. Now, the reason I went with Japanese sound effects is because, duh, they look cooler, obviously. However, there was that big problem of, not knowing the language. So I was looking up, like, different manga sound effects in Japanese with their translations, and every website just had different answers for, like, the same sounds, so I didn't trust any of them. I then proceeded to just pick up my Berserk volumes and grab the sound effects and their translations straight from there. Because no way the published manga would have mistranslations, right? Yeah, it's like, come on. No, no way, right? It probably does. I can 100% guarantee some of them are not correct in my manga. I'm sorry for that. I tried my best. Another reason the manga took so long to release is because of the cover page. I've been done with all the pages for quite a bit now. Probably like a week and a half, week 2 weeks maybe, depending on whenever this video comes out. I spent a week trying to learn how to color on CSP, and it never turned out well. I even made practice drawings that I tried to color. They never looked right. I really did want a colored cover, but I don't know. In the end, I gave up, and I just ended up going with like a black and white cover, which I think was cool. Originally, this dog shit was going to be the cover. I decided to change it with some thoughts from other creators I know, and I ended up just loving this cover. I love how it turned out, honestly. I wasn't too sure about adding the trees in the background. They go around like the title there, but they grew on me. I like it. I'm happy with how it turned out. Also, I like the black and white style because I think it honestly reflects how the manga looks itself. Because I don't know about you, but I've seen some covers with like bad coloring, but the line work looked pretty cool, and I've just completely skipped over it. So, just because of the coloring. I think the black and white method might stick for a while, or at least until I get better at coloring digitally, because I think it just reflects the style of the actual pages. So, yeah, I think I'm going to keep that for now. The next thing was places to publish. I already wanted to publish on Manga Plus Creators, but I also wanted my manga to be on a few other sites just to put it out there. So I started searching for a few other sites, but I don't know if I'm going to go with those yet, as of like recording this right now. I will probably make my own website eventually, but I'll just post the latest chapters and all that. But for now, it'll be on those sites linked in the description. Also, I thought it was pretty funny when I had to upload the pages to those sites that I had to lower the file size because of the site's limited upload file size. So what I had to do was I had to open each page individually and crop them and lower the quality until it was under the maximum file size for that site, which is pretty funny. Whenever I have my own website up, I'll upload them with like the max quality sizes, of course. But honestly, the quality didn't even drop that much, to be honest. I think it lowered to 80% of the max quality, but it still looks really good. There's still super clean pages that I uploaded to those sites. Yeah, I know. So you just looked at the screen and said, no way he's doing this after he said he would on stream. Just hear me out. I'm not being paid to make this at all. This is all my free time, and I'm posting it all for free. I would like to make this into my actual job, where I do this full time. The manga, that is. Now, if you've been on my streams, you know I don't ask for stuff, especially money. That is the YouTube side of things. Now, no way, shape, or form is it required to pay me to read my manga. It will all be out there for free, but if you would like to support me financially, again, not required at all, it's only if you'd like to, you can do so on Patreon. I don't know what perks or content I will put on there, but for now, that is the place where you can financially support me if you'd like to. And of course, thank you to anyone that does. As of right now, recording this audio, I don't have it up, so I don't know what it will be called yet, but it will be in the description. And again, thank you to anyone that does. Now, unlike Chapter 1, I do have a plan for Chapter 2 that I'm going to try my best to stick to. Step 1 is obviously moving to a smaller paper size. That's non-negotiable. I'm going to be going down to a 14 by 17 inch paper size for Chapter 2, which doesn't sound that much of a difference. It is. It's actually a lot smaller, but I'm hoping that going down to a slightly smaller paper size will speed up the whole process, and Chapter 2 won't take, a damn year like Chapter 1 to make. Unlike Chapter 1, I am going to be setting a deadline goal for myself, and all that I will absolutely try to stick to, or my best to stick to at least. No promises. I also plan on streaming more of the pages for Chapter 2, since I only streamed like 2 of the pages for Chapter 1, and that was like months and months ago. That's about it. My manga is on those sites linked in the description, along with the Patreon. Also, I have a Discord server where we just share art and hang out, so feel free to join that and share your work. Also, we do like monthly art competitions just for fun, where anyone can join. It's open to anyone as long as you don't break the rules, obviously. Also, I'll try to post some more videos on my channel. I know I'm more of a streaming YouTube channel, but I do want to start posting more videos and maybe some even like short animations, because I've been learning animation on the side of Warriors, because why not? Also, if you'd like to be notified about any new content for my channel or for Warriors, subscribe. Like I said, I'm going to try to post more stuff about the manga and all that. But with all that being said, hope you guys have a great day, and I hope you enjoy Chapter 1 of Warriors. See ya!